Hello, wonderful people. How are you doing? I'm back with a new episode of Be Your Own Hero podcast. And really excited today because I have somebody really inspiring with me on this episode. And he was former oil executive and CEO of a multinational company. And his story is kind of inspiring, which led to this episode which we are recording today. And his name is Jose, and I I'm just calling him by his just first name. He will introduce himself with a full name, but anyhow, I'll tell you a little bit about his journey so that you can relate to it and you can enjoy the conversation more. Like he was visiting US, and during his business trip he was held as a hostage, and he was wrongfully detained in a hostile foreign country for around 5 years. That's a long period. And then in the October was 2022, he came out of prisoner swap in a Caribbean island. And then on, his journey begins, which is completely different from other people. Like we are living normal life, and when we go through something, we are different person. So that's what happened with Jose.
Mhm.
And I'm really happy for all of you that you're gonna listen from him. And he is such a wonderful person. So let's welcome him. Yes, Jose.
Okay, thank you very much for having me in your program. Well, my name is Jose Angel Pereira. As you introduced me well, I was a former oil and gas executive during 35 years,
Mhm.
and in a trip that we did because we were called for a last minute meeting in Venezuela,
Mhm.
and it resulted to be a setup. And as you said, we stayed like five
Yeah.
years in prison. So that
Mhm.
the audience will say, "Wow, what happened there?" Well, at that time we didn't know really what was happening. We didn't have no
Mhm.
clue what was going on because at the beginning we really thought that this was a mistake, that something that
Mhm.
could be clarified, and well, it's always like that, something that happens suddenly. But the truth of the matter is that we will get caught in something that today I understand, and I'm talking
Mhm.
loudly about it, is
Mhm.
what is called the hostage diplomacy. What will
Yeah.
happen with us? We
Mhm.
were working with this multinational. The headquarters of the company is in
Mhm.
Venezuela. Is the national oil company of
Mhm.
Venezuela, PDVSA,
Mhm.
Petróleo de Venezuela.
Mhm.
And that happened that year. Uh, the political situation with the U.S. was really bad because
Mhm.
the president that was in office at that time, President Trump, was having a lot of issues with that country. They were
Yeah.
imposing a
Mhm.
lot of sanctions and personally and for the country, and even it was imposed a ban of the oil production. So it was a big deal. And to tell you the truth, we knew that the situation was going on, but we were
Mhm.
not politicians. We're
Mhm.
businessmen. So
Yeah.
when we assisted to that meeting, because many people have told me, why would you went to that meeting? Well, because was my thing, was part of my business. It was
Mhm.
a budget meeting. It wasn't a normal thing. Well, what we didn't know is that really the situation that was going on, and when we get there, there appeared some police, special police, they
Mhm.
we learned that is the counterintelligence military police of that
Mhm.
country. And when we saw what happened, we thought there was a mistake. Well, but the point is that this became to be a real political issue, and
Yeah.
the situation with the
Mhm.
U.S. became really bad at
Mhm.
the point that they expelled the ambassador. Up to
Mhm.
today, there is
Mhm.
no U.S. ambassador in Venezuela. So
Mhm.
we were caught in the middle of that situation between the two countries, and the thing didn't go well. Every time was worse because, and we were like, we were the bargain chiefs in the political part of the situation, and
Mhm.
was. it was a pity what we were going because we were six guys. I was not only alone. We were
Mhm.
six guys,
Yes.
and we were put in a very
Mhm.
isolated process. We
Mhm.
stayed like 10 months, totally incommunicated,
Mhm.
and we were in a very confined place that
Mhm.
didn't have no windows. There was no fresh air, no running
Mhm.
water.
Mhm.
We lost a sense of time because we didn't have watch. And well, it was really bad. It was really bad. The situation and the food was terrible. So
Mhm.
the thing was really so bad that we learned after that that our families were fighting hard, and they had already contacted the
Mhm.
U.S. government, and the U.S. government, because again there was no ambassador, was trying to triangulate through third parties some kind of release. So they,
Mhm.
they contacted the UN. The
Mhm.
UN has a commission called the Arbitrary Detention Commission,
Mhm.
and that UN commission went to Venezuela and they visited us. When
Mhm.
they visited to us, they relaxed a little bit the pressure that they were doing it. They allowed us to have some food and
Mhm.
some water and some medicine provided by our
Mhm.
families,
Mhm.
because by the time we were really starving. I lost almost 100 pounds,
Mm.
and
All
some
right.
guys lost 50
Mhm.
pounds, 60 pounds. So we were really in very bad
Mhm.
condition. If you go to in Google, there appear
Mhm.
some photos of our us. And
Okay.
the rest of the guy, that, to tell you the truth, when I saw the photo, I
Mhm.
got surprised. We look like corpse, okay?
Mm.
So it was like when you see those photos in the Nazi
Mhm.
concentration camp, or something like that. It was terrible, terrible.
Mm. Yeah.
So well, by the way, we were really like in a concentration camp. So when we begin to receive the food, at some
Mhm.
point we begin to, as I said, like in the 10 months period, we had like 1 minute call to our families, and we figured out that our family was really fighting hard for us.
Perfect. Mhm.
And we begin to receive this food,
Mhm.
and receiving this food, I took the risk that
Mhm.
begin to put letters inside the containers of the food. The first time I did it, I took the risk, and my wife, when she received the first letter, she was totally scared. But
Mhm.
she did the same, and I received
Mhm.
that letter back.
Oh my gosh.
So
Mm.
we begin to do
That's
it.
how you guys were
we,
communicating, right?
we begin to communicate that way.
Mhm.
We begin to go. And let me tell you, it was really efficient. I can tell
Mhm.
you today, I can say it. It became
Mhm.
a real efficient way of communication, because I was writing down what was happening with me,
Mhm.
and I sent the letter, and then 2 or 3 days after, I received her reply, and she told me what they were doing. So at some point, we were having a very good communication, and
Mhm.
I was enjoying it the way we did it. And let me tell you that, yeah,
Mm.
because that gave me a lot of hope, knowing that
Hope,
my family was
absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, when I came back in last October, my wife had all these letters there, and
Mhm.
she had almost 1,000 letters between.
Wow.
We stayed doing this almost 3 years, and that
Okay.
became the base of what today is the
Mm.
book that is in the editing process.
Mhm.
Because I began to, when
We're
I came
gonna
back,
talk about it for sure.
yeah, because my wife, I can tell you, my wife became my editor.
Wow.
She that
That's
those
good.
letters, she transcribed it to Word, and she corrected
Mhm.
the editing, all the stuff.
Mhm.
So when I came back, we began to review it, and we converted in a book.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
let's break down a little bit for our audience to understand it little like in a simpler manner. So let me ask you one question. Like, what was your dream when you just decided to go to US? What was your thought process? Like when
when
you just came to US, like what was it?
well, for me, it was not so problem, because I literally came to the U.S. the first time when I had 5 years. I belong to a third generation of oil and gas worker, and by the way,
Mm-hmm.
my son is a fourth generation. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was very young, my father was assigned here to the U.S. and we lived here when I was very young. So
Okay.
when I came back here, I already have lived here. So
Hmm.
for me, it really was no deal, big deal.
Not a big deal.
No,
So
no,
so
no.
it was like you wanted to progress in your business. You want to have a growth in the business, and that's why you were just landing there to have a meeting or something. And then things were quite opposite. When you realize it, how did you feel? Like, okay, so I had this dream, I had this thing in my mind, but things are completely different. So how did you face that phase, and how did you feel the struggle?
Well, that's part of the journey because
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that I learned that when
Mm-hmm.
the adversity comes, it doesn't announce never. So you will never have no announcement. It happened and it happened. In my
It
particular
is.
case, I did a 35 years career,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
long career. And when
Yes.
I came here assigned by the company. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was like the pinnacle of my career. I
Mm.
was in the top of my career. So,
Yeah.
and I was in the midst to get retired because even that I was young because I began working very young at the
Mm-hmm.
20s. So when that happened, I had 55. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to retire because I already had 35 years because I wanted to. Okay, so as I said, at that point, I was in the pinnacle of my career, and I was deciding to get retired because the situation at that time was not good between the two countries. And I talked to my wife and said, hey, I think it's time to go. And I was planning to become a oil and gas advisor. Of
Mm.
course, that never happened because the situation I went through.
Yeah. So what I get out of your story is that, like, you were on the top in your career, and you take a different path. You went to US and you were doing your thing there, and you had good intentions, but situation was completely different. And then you went through the struggle phase, and you, as you were telling, that you had a very good conversation through letters with your wife. And so, on that note, I want to ask you that what benefits of that struggle came with you when you were out of that struggle? What changes took place in you?
For me, was a totally life changer because at
Mm-hmm.
some point we managed to begin to receive books. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I began to read a lot of books because that was the only thing I could do. So I literally read like 300 books all the
Wow, that's
like
pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah, really, because we began to receive books and we were sharing among other and with
Mm-hmm.
other prisoners of
Mm-hmm.
other cells, and so we were
Mm-hmm.
sharing a lot of books.
Books.
And at some point, I received a book of a guy that he was a survivor in the concentration camp in World War II. His name is Viktor Frankl, and the
Yeah.
book is Man's Search of a Meaning.
Yeah.
Maybe many people in the audience can know it.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, I never knew about this guy. That was the first time I heard from him. So, and it's, this is a very short book. It's very easy to read, but it's very powerful because
Mm-hmm.
what that guy was literally was talking to me. He was saying to us that we needed to be connected to God and have a purpose, a meaning in life. So when I found that, when I
Mm-hmm.
heard that, and the
Mm-hmm.
others, we all of us heard that, we said, "Wow, we need to be strong for our families." So it became like an anthem. Every day we were saying we need to stay strong for in
Strong.
body, soul, and spirit for our family. So we managed because the six of us were really planned guys. We were guys coming from the oil and gas that
Mm-hmm.
you always are planning and doing strategies
Mm-hmm.
and this type of thing. So we did like a kind of a board meeting,
Mm-hmm.
the six of us, and we decided to do a plan, a surviving plan. So we managed to have a daily program that
Mm-hmm.
begin very early with the breakfast,
Okay.
and then the cleaning, because we in 2020, remember, was the pandemic. There was
Mhm.
COVID there, so
Mhm.
we were isolated and we were cleaning every day. Every day that we were in a very tiny room, by the way, it was
Mhm.
not, it was 100 square meter. Was living in like in a closet. So we had three bunk beds, a tiny table, and a very tiny bathroom. That was all. That was all.
Mhm.
And we didn't have running water. So and two of our guys that are engineers that always were dealing with tank and this type of thing, they did calculation that how many water a person will need in a survival mode per day, and they calculated that you can survive with 15 liters per day. So we were using three cans of 5 liters each, and we did that during years. It became like a practice.
Mm.
I, I can tell you, I am a good promoter of the environment because we,
That's a
we,
good thing.
we were dealing with 50 liters to do everything,
Everything.
every
Okay.
everything. And let me tell you, we did it. So that plan for us really was something that changed the situation, because now we had a strategy to survive.
Mm.
We respected the space of the other. For example, when in the morning somebody was going to eat, you was eating alone and the others were in the bed, so you could have the solace in your food. So when you were doing exercise, it was funny because I could be doing yoga in my bed, the other guy doing static running, the other guy was in a corner doing cardio. So we were all doing things.
Mm.
So and when we began to read, you saw everybody very quiet. Our rooms were quiet, silent. Nobody was
Okay.
doing noise. We had
Mm.
a timing to turn on the lights. By the time we were allowed to do it,
Okay.
so we managed to do things one day at a time.
Hmm.
One,
That's a very good thing, what you're talking about, one day at a time. Like right now, people are struggling to find at least one thing or one goal to achieve. They have too much on their plate at one single point, and they just want to do everything together. And the one thing you are saying, it's really very powerful that you guys were doing one thing at a time, and silence also played a very big role, right? So my question to you is, if somebody is also going through the similar kind of struggle, or somebody is going through any adverse situation right now, so how can they come out? What should they do? Like, any general tips you want to tell them, or anything you want to tell them to follow if they're going through any difficult phase right now?
oh yeah, of course. Because today, the takeaway of all of this thing is that after I came back and I've been doing a lot of advocacy in the houseless community, I
Mm-hmm.
begin to understand all my process, because I went through a process
Mm-hmm.
with a trauma therapist. I went through PTSD. I
Mm-hmm.
went with therapy, psychology, so a lot of stuff. And when we begin to manage how we survive, I decided to create a coaching program that is called the Surviving and Resilience Coaching Program. And I put a name that's called Life Pills for a Surviving Guide. That is basically that. That is basically
Okay.
that. How
Mm-hmm.
can you survive under any adversity? So my tips.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anybody that having any adversity in life, I have 5 things to say. The first thing, you have to stay calm and focused,
Mm.
because when the people are not focused and are not calm, is when it comes to anxiety, the depression, all these
See.
bad feelings. So you stay focused and you can see more clear the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a positive mindset. This is
That's
something very important,
right. Mm-hmm.
because I have been a guy all my life very positive, and in adversity, having a positive mindset is a different way of looking things. You have to stick to your loved ones. This is something important,
Mm.
because
That's right.
when you're in adversity, I'm not saying that you cannot have friends. Friends are okay, but when you're having a problem, a friend who is going to be around you is going to be your loved ones, your families, your significant one, the people that really you care. You have to try to maintain insanity physically and mentally. That's what we were doing the exercise, reading, writing, doing stuff. We were always having our mind, doing things. Okay, we were not looking to the ceiling. No?
Mm.
And the fifth, and I think is the most important point, you have to go back to your inner life and your spirituality. So because we found there that even we were in that dark place, we saw a lot of signs that there's nothing more than say that that was the sign of God. So we literally found God there because we begin to receive these small pocket Bibles. Then we
Oh,
begin reading it with a candle. The first time we did it with a candle.
and
After that, we received a regular sized Bible. So we were every day we were praying. We were reading the
mhm.
Bible. We began to do Bible studies literally because we were reading every day the Bible. We were analyzing the Bible. We were praying, and when we finished that, let me tell you, the process between praying and reading the Bible was almost 3 hours every day.
Wow,
Almost
that's
3 hours. Yes, yes. We begin like
takes.
at 8 p.m. and finish like 11 p.m. And let me tell you, after that, we shouted out our anthem that
Mhm.
we're gonna stay okay, strong in spirit and body and soul, and then we rested in peace. I can tell you, I dreamed like a baby because that gives you a lot of peace, a lot
Peace.
of hope, and we did it one day at a time. So you said something very important because I was a guy that in the past always was thinking 1 year and a half, 2 years and a half, and was always anxiety because
Mhm.
and sometimes if the things had changed, so you get depressed because the thing didn't go how you wanted. So when you live your day by day, one day at a time, you every day counts. We were always saying that it was one more day, but it was at the same time one more less day. So we were like one more day, one less day. And we did it one
Oh,
day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 5 year, and we came back. So yeah.
wow. That's an inspiring way to live. Like you were going through, sorry to say, going through a hell process, like if I could say, like it wasn't easy. If we can just imagine, like somebody is confined in a small room with very much like small place to live and no access to the like outside world, and still you guys are so positive, and that's what is the beauty of going through struggle. Then you get to meet yourself, as you told very beautifully, that you saw the ray of hope and you connected with yourself through Bible. You were reading it for 3 hours a day, and you feel that courage and power to pursue whatever is coming through your way, right? So actually, I'm also a very spiritual person. I spend my time in spirituality. I begin my day by praying to God, and I end my day by praying. And even during the day, whenever we get time. So that's the beauty of being spiritual, being positive, and be enthusiastic to live life. So that's really stuck with me as well. So like even going through so much of things, you're so happy to tell about it. You're so positive, and you are helping others that how they can get out of that state. And oh, you were talking about your book as well, right? So we are moving towards the end of today's episode, so let's talk about it bit more. Like, so you're writing a book, you're creating a course. How did you feel when you find your life purpose? Just tell that story with us.
For me, was a life changer because, as I said in the beginning, 6 years ago, I wanted to become an oil and gas coach because it was my expertise. 35
Mhm.
years, a lot of expertise in that area.
Yes.
But this changed my life.
Yeah.
This I felt that like God put me in this path because I begin to do a lot of things. I begin to talk with people. I begin to meet the families of the hostage community. We are part of a family today. We have a campaign called the Bring Our Family Home campaign that advocate for hostage. They are all around the world. So when I begin to do that, I saw that I was giving a lot of hope to the people. So I decided, that's why I decided to go to the past to do it a more broad way. And I'm going to also begin to do public speaking in that area because I have been doing privately. I have been gone several scenarios privately. I was in the Congress, invited by the Congress to do a speech on this. And every time I was talking on this, the people was like surprised. So I said, okay, let's do it. Because we are not a guru. We are not a super expert. We are a regular guy that went through a traumatic experience and we managed to handle it. And I think that we have the tools that can help others on this adversity. So today, that's my thing. Today, I had this coaching program. Today, I'm beginning to do the public speaking, and my book is not writing; it's already done. It's in the editing process, and I think in more than 2 or 3 months, it's gonna be already outside. And the way that the book is writing is exactly in that direction. That I of course I narrate the ordeal because it's a fact, but the intention of the book is transcend. Tell the people that you can go under any adversity and you can always transcend. Because any adversity in life, now I understand that any adversity in life, you can always survive it. Always. It's a
That's
decision.
perfect. Very well said. So the thing is that, so if audience is gonna take away one tip, so what would you share? Just one tip.
That one under any adversity, you have always two choices. You have one choice that is go under that, you're a victim, you're not gonna make it, poor of me, blah blah blah. Or you can decide to go in the other way, that is the positive way, positive thinking, the resilience, and the proper mindset, survive, succeed, and be successful. That's what my choice. And that's what today I can tell the people to do.
That's perfectly said. So I believe all of you must have enjoyed today's conversation with Jose, and I'm so grateful that I get to connect with him because before meeting him, I had no clue that something like this is happening in the world. And now I can feel that, okay, we all should little bit we should be more considerate towards who are suffering or who are going through this kind of strenuous process. So my good wishes are with you, and best of luck with your book publishing and your course creation and public speaking as well. So I'm happy to get connected, and there's so much of wisdom you have shared in here with us. And thank you so very much for being on the show. And till then, take care of yourself.
I'm going to say one last thing.
Okay.
I'm doing now a newsletter in LinkedIn that people can go to my LinkedIn. I don't know if you're going to put it there, but they can go to my LinkedIn and they can see the newsletter. I'm talking about exactly what you said. I'm trying to raise awareness about the hostage situation that is affecting a lot of Americans. And today I'm putting the faces of the people so that people can see there are real people, real human beings going through this. So I invite the people to go there. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this resilience under adversity. So they can go there, and I'm trying to put things to help people.
Yeah. Okay? That's so kind of you to share that, because many people are going through a lot of struggles. So they can just get connected to you, and they can see a ray of hope in form of your book or in your course or through your public speaking or the knowledge or wisdom you're sharing. And I think God has sent you for doing this. And blessings for you. And I hope a number of people get the benefit from your wisdom and your struggles, right? So on that note, let's take a leave. So it was really wonderful talking to you, Jose, and good luck with your future projects.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
take
you
care.
very much for having me, and thank you for the audience for hearing me. Thank you.
Welcome.